Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy CIZY Live Action, Kansas City, Missouri. You already know the vibes. I'm back at it again with another episode of the College Stutzer Show, formerly known as the Culture Talks Podcast, because we are here and we talk about the culture and we bring people in who represent the culture. And, at the end of the day, they need us. We don't need them. So with that being said, I tell you guys every single Friday that I'm going to come back with a fire guest. And I've yet to lie to y'all, which means that truthfulness is the foundation of all human virtues, which also means that I'm practicing truthfulness. And guess what? We've done it again. We back at it again with another dope guest. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, my brother.
What's good, KC? What's good, world, man? It's your boy JLEE. Man, I'm here with my boy. I met this man like literally a week ago. Energy was off the chain. I heard he got a cracking podcast, and I'm just here to elevate the culture, man. He's trying to grind. I'm trying to get it. So yeah, man, I'm JLEE, artist, musician, singer, writer, poet from Olathe, Kansas, and I'm here to chop it up with y'all today.
I love it. Hey, man, well, we appreciate you coming in here. Like you said, it was a pleasure meeting you last week at the Wasteland Sessions. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not from the Kansas City area, so there is a label out here and a dope up-and-coming artist by the name of Kai Colors and his team who put together something called the Wasteland Sessions, bringing a whole bunch of creatives together, primarily artists, singers, writers, producers, to come into one space and collaborate under one roof and make some dope music and just meet and engage with each other. They invited me to come up, pull up, just chop it up, interview people, on some random, just get some behind the scenes conversations going. And that's where I met JLEE, and we had a dope conversation. Same thing from this side. His energy was popping. He's up there with the affirmations and believing in himself. And I loved that about him. A lot of people are always scared to be like, oh, I might be good, I might be successful. He's like, nah, man, I'm cold, man. I'm gonna be the best. Like I am the best. Like so I really liked that, because it takes confidence to be able to do that. So with that being said, let's jump into, a little bit about your early life, man. Where did you grow up? Not that it extremely matters, but what's your background, ethnicity? Talk about, your experiences in childhood and some dope memories you have. Just talk about you and your early life, between like 0 and 10, just to give the people some feedback on who you are.
That's a good time frame right there to start from 0 to 10. I like that. But yeah, man, I'm JLEE. Like I said before, I was born and raised in Olathe, Kansas. I'm like first generation, like out of the hood, like first generation. And, my parents, even though they ended up divorcing when I was 8, they still, even though we barely had much, like I feel like they went in debt, just to make sure that we had a better life from where they came from. So it was like, I grew up kind of, I kind of felt like I didn't really fit in anywhere. And that's what you can tell from my music. It's kind of multi-perspectives, because it's like every time I would go to the hood, I would kind of get clowned and shit, because I used to have a speech impediment as a kid. And then when I went to the suburbs, people would think that I'm like hood when I'm really not hood at all, or like a tough guy. And then I would grow up around like the black kids, even in the suburbs, they would think I was kind of corny. And then in the hood, like I said, people would like kind of try me and shit like that. So I kind of grew up kind of weird. Like I didn't really ever fit in with any crowd. Like Olathe, some people might not know, it's a suburb outside of Kansas City, right in the KC Metro. And people can think what they want to about Johnson County, because I promise you, even though I grew up, I ain't had to worry about getting aired out or anything when I left the house. It was far from easy from some of us, man, because you got to understand, we have a pretty bad poverty line in some parts of Olathe. And then I kind of like how I lived, because it kind of made me grow up, wanting more, because I grew up like going to high school at Olathe Northwest High School, seeing kids like literally driving like 2019 BMW, like SUVs, and seeing like the drop top BMWs. Like, so I grew up with kids that had some bread. And then I always was at the low end of the totem pole, those kids talking shit on me. And like I said, the hood not accepting me. And as far as like my parents go and my ethnicity, my parents are both African-American. I'm from mid-Missouri. A lot of people think I'm mixed because I'm so light-skinned, but I'm not. They're from mid-Missouri. And yeah, man, that's pretty much how I grew up. Single parent home, same thing since I was, since like 2008. when my parents got divorced. But even though I have the struggles, I definitely had the good times, and I'm happy with the way I lived. And that's pretty much. I know I kind of went into the high school days a little bit, but 0 to 10, that's pretty much how I grew up, my man.
No, I love it. I love it. That was a really good breakdown. I think a lot of people that we have on the show, it's very interesting because a lot of them either are first generation, like I've never heard someone use like that phrase before, but it's actually very, it's very, I guess you could say, it's a thing we see a lot where some kid is like first generation out of the hood, where their parents grew up in a tough situation. Maybe their older brother did too, or their older sister. And like they when they like 5, 6, they moved to the suburbs. And so they had an interesting experience where they're going back to the hood to visit family, and also just have some touchstones back in certain areas where their parents grew up. So they back over there, they kicking it over there, here and there, but then they also grow up in the suburbs, and they're kind of trying to find themselves because they see that their parents and maybe older siblings or cousins grew up in a different lifestyle, and they know they're growing up in a little bit different lifestyle, and they're trying to find their identity growing up, like, yo, like, am I supposed to be this way? Because it's so easy to, like, as much as we want to talk about authenticity and being authentic, it's so easy to fall into the trap of trying to create a version of yourself to fit in for others, if that makes sense. So it's like, you're, especially as a young Black man growing up in the suburbs, it's like, yo, they expect you, like the rich white kids expect you to be, love rap, be ghetto, be their ghetto Black friend, so they can talk about they got this ghetto Black friend that does this and came from this. Like, it's a bragging right for the white people. And then for like the Black kids in school, they like, oh, we're not really sure how we want to rock with you, because they might have came from a different situation, either where they just moved, from either they grew up in the suburbs and they're creating this version of themselves that's fake, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I came from this and that and this and that. And so they don't want to accept you. So it's a very confusing line. But what I was trying to say is, I've had a lot of guests on the show who had a similar experience where they went to school for a little bit in the hood, or, in a tough area. And then maybe like 10, 15, they moved to the suburbs, and then they had like that weird experience where like they're trying to get accepted over here, but then it also taught them a lot of lessons, which I would like you to jump a little bit deeper into. You started to touch on it, but it taught them a lot of lessons on how to be able to communicate with all different types of people, rich people, poor white people, rich white people, Mexicans, Asians, smart Asians, rich Asians, poor Asians, and when you go to these schools like that you went to, or like me in Independence, there's like a diversity of different cultures that all come from different situations, and you're forced to interact with them. So you really are taught how to, engage and communicate. So can you kind of talk about, maybe your high school career and like things you had to identify, that identity crisis, or trying to figure out who you were during that time and how you did that, and maybe some benefits of those challenges as well?
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually start a little bit before that. Something I didn't touch on earlier. So it was like, even I'm not gonna say, I don't like talking about like my family. I don't say names or nothing, but I definitely like had like an older sibling who was like in and out of prison and stuff. And it's kind of crazy because it's like, damn, like we're related, but like we grew up completely differently. And then like elementary ages also, this is the thing I forgot to touch on. Like in the summers, I would go to this program in Kansas City, Missouri, like in the middle of the hood. It was called Freedom School, and it was like a little summer school program and shit. So it was like, it gave me like definitely a different like perspective on things. And I remember like, that's where like a lot of the music came into, because I remember like they used to fuck with me like every single day and shit. And then I remember like I kind of stood up for myself, and the way I earned my keep was rapping. And I remember like I went to Freedom School 2 different times, and like they like me because like I was cold at rapping. And like I remember we had a talent show, and there was like 2 kids that was like 14 and I was like 8, and I remember I smoked this shit in like a rap and shit. And then, as you said, like going into, so that's kind of like back what we were talking about earlier. But then like when you talk about my high school career. So I started off my first year. I went to a school. Actually, you're gonna like it, but you're gonna like this, and this is something I wanted to share. But my first year, I went to a school called Olathe North. This is it's actually a pretty known school in this area. Isaiah Simmons, who's in the NFL, went there. Darren Sproles, who's in the NFL, went there. Huge football school. I went there my first year, and like I did typical shit, Black kid, try to play sports, football, basketball, and like to be keep it a buck with you, I was sorry at both of them. Like football, I was on the bench. I'm just being real with you, bro. Like I was sorry at football and basketball. And I think it's just I just wanted to fit in and kind of like do what my friends was doing. And then as far as like that was like my freshman year. My freshman year is when I first started like recording music. I had a crew. This is a terrible name. I don't know what he was thinking, but we was called the Suburban Street Kings, and we were like,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And then there's some music still up on SoundCloud right now, so y'all should peep that. It's horrible. We're called the Suburban Street Kings, and that's when I first started like recording on SoundCloud. But then like in the mornings, I remember we would have like late starts, so we would have like a long like morning period. It would be like almost like an hour of us just sitting in the comments, and that's when I used to really get busy, like freestyling and all that. And then it goes. I'm just gonna go year to year from high school since you said that. Then I'm gonna let you cut back in. And then my second year in high school, I went to Olathe North again. And I kind of stopped on the musical tip because the dude I was doing it with, he wasn't really taking it too serious. And it became kind of a joke to where people were just making like troll songs and like this, and which is cool. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but like I didn't want to, that's one thing why, and we talked about this a little bit, why I stopped recording music. Cause it's like, I felt like it became a joke. And this is around 2016. So this is like the SoundCloud rapper era, you know, the face tat, colored hair era. That was around that time. So this was sophomore year. I kind of stopped rapping, and this was like it was a weird time in my life because I actually the second half of my sophomore year I ended up going to an alternative school because I was really struggling with the anxiety and the depression that year. I stopped playing sports that year, and I was really trying to find myself, you know. And then that's kind of how my sophomore year ended. So I ended at this alternative school program, which was kind of cool. It was like laid back and stuff. And like all my friends, like I have people thinking that like I was dead and shit. Like, cause I just like left, I cut off all social media and all that. Cause like I used to be like a real outgoing kid, but the anxiety really destroyed me. So then my junior year, I went back to, I'm sorry if it's going on kind of long. I'm trying to get all 4 years.
Hey, don't apologize. The whole point of this is so we can touch on your story and really get a background of who you are. So I'm enjoying this, and it's helping me come up with some follow-up questions. So keep going. Don't apologize.
All right, bet. Appreciate you, my boy. And let's see here. So junior year, I go back to North, and this is like, and I actually have a song coming out soon called Late Bloomer, where it's talking about where I come back, and like I was like I was a loser like my first 2 years in high school. This is when I come back. I lost a lot of weight. I came back like 40 pounds lighter. I came out, that's when I first got the dreads, and I was kind of feeling myself junior year. And we just being real, and I'll talk about this. Junior year is the first time, that's when I lost my virginity when I was 16, like when I came back. And I remember that year, I like kind of morphed into something I wasn't. Like I did a bunch of wild stuff. That's when I first got into partying. I didn't get into the smoking or drinking yet, but that's when I first got into partying, like talking to females. And all that type of stuff junior year. And I really didn't do no music or nothing, but it's like, I remember that year is when I transferred schools again at the second half of the semester. That's when I went to Olathe Northwest. Now, mind you, so Olathe North is like, there's a lot of kids from Kansas City, Missouri that go to Olathe North for some reason. And it's like the lower poverty school. So it's like mostly Black and Mexican. So I transferred to Olathe Northwest where I was zoned for. And this school is like 90% white. I think we had like 8 Black kids in my graduating class. And like, it was like literally 90% white. So it was like a complete culture shock. And I remember like the kids, like this was like my junior year, they like loved me at that school and shit. Like, and then that was pretty much the end of my junior year. And then I played football again my senior year. And this is kind of where, and I'm gonna touch on this stuff. I don't want to get too into it because I have like, the music's gonna explain it a lot, but junior year, senior year was an interesting year for me because that's when I had to, that's when I was hospitalized, when I actually had to get like hospitalized in a mental health hospital my junior year. That's when I started smoking weed again, dabbling with different drugs. That's when I really lost myself, like when I got up to like 260 pounds. But then again, at the end of my senior year, like I barely graduated school, but that's when the music came back to me because like that's why I know I'm chosen to do music because it always found me again. And I remember I had a freestyle over the Dead President's Jay-Z beat, and I posted it, and I kind of went like viral around the city because I killed it. And I was talking about everything I was going through that year, and people loved it because nobody even knew I rapped. But yeah, bro, that's pretty much my high school career. I know that was kind of a long time.
No, that's like important though, because like you said, when we touch on the music, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is storytelling. And I think one of the best forms of hip hop and the best forms of rapping is when people are storytelling, being authentic, telling their true story, being vulnerable. Like, there's turn up rap, which is awesome too. But like when we talk about the depth of music and how music is a ladder to the soul, that's where storytelling and really sharing experiences and using our artistic expression to be able to tell, you know, our life story and the stories of communities that we're growing up in and our families and things of that nature. That's when it becomes really, really powerful. So I love that you share, some of the challenges that you went through in high school in regards to trying to navigate life, who you were, navigate anxiety, navigate depression without the, support of society. Because only now has mental health become like a focus of society where people actually are starting to accept it, and it's still not full, like back in the days, parents, family members were like, man, shut up with all that bullshit. We don't want to hear that. But like, and then at school, kids are like, depressed, you weird, you know what I'm saying? You a goth kid, whatever, So it's like only now has that become like, more of an accepted conversation, accepted topic. So I would love for you to talk about, leaving high school, after all those experiences, dabbling in a few different high schools, experiencing different types of people, having the challenges of anxiety, depression, and then finding music again. First and foremost, what did that feel like?
Shit. Like which part, like the mental health struggles?
Well, yeah, like all that leading up to you finding music again your senior year. So you say your senior year, like music started to come back into your life again, and you were like, that's how you felt. That's how you know right now that you're like the chosen one and that this is for you,
Yeah.
because music always found its way back to you. So when music came back into your life again later on in high school, after all of those experiences and still going through those challenges, how did that feel? And like, how did music help you out in regards to transitioning, into adult life, becoming 18, 19,
All right.
graduating?
I'm just making sure I got the correct question, because like I got ADHD, so I'm a scatterbrain. My brain's always thinking about something else. It's crazy. Don't take that the wrong way, but it's like it felt that's like when I knew, like I always knew, like you're asking when it came back to me. I always knew that I was gonna do something big. I know at first I thought it might have been comedy or like motivational speaking, but I remember like after all that, and when I started writing again, I was like better than I ever was, and I haven't written for like a year or something. And then that's when I knew, like I just knew, like a voice. There's 2 times where a very clear voice told me, brother, like this is gonna be your way out, and this is what you're meant to do. And I always knew it was gonna be something, but like I remember what you're asking is like when I first started writing again, I already knew I could rap, but then when I really take my time and shit, like I always knew that was gonna be it. And I remember at the end of my senior year, and even we're gonna get into that later, like when I left, why I stopped rapping again. But it's like I guess I kind of struggle with spirituality, but God definitely told me, or whoever told me, he said this is gonna be a way. It's just I can't explain it to you because it's like a voice. It's like a premonition that I got. You know what I mean? That
No,
might
I
not
hear.
even. Yeah.
It may not make sense to most, but I do understand what you mean by that. Yeah, it's like experiences and like moments of reflection where you're just sitting alone, and like there's just always, at least for me, especially in tough times, like a voice that comes. It's not so much like literally somebody sitting next to me whispering in my ear, but it's just this rush, this feeling of, oh, I know, like this is for me. Something just came into me and told me like, yo, this is for me. So I hear you on that for sure.
Yeah.
um I wanted to ask you a little bit about, your creative process. So I do want to kind of dive into music a little bit more in regards to like your writing process. Like, do you freestyle and then just keep going in, press record, freestyle, stop, think about it for a second, press freestyle, or are you a full-on writer in your iPhone? Are you writing in a notepad? Let's talk about your creative process in regards to like putting a song together, and putting projects together. How do you approach creating music?
Perfect. So this is kind of cool. You're doing this like my first, like sit down, because like for me, actually, like I have one project out right now. It's only 4 songs, and like I like where I'm headed right now. Like a month ago, I opened for Tech Nine, which is huge. Only having 4 songs out. This, like I said, I know I'm chosen because I'm not bragging or nothing, but that wouldn't happen if I wasn't chosen. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, as far as writing goes, everything that I write, it's like a personal experience, something that's bothering me, something that's going on in the world. And it's like, it just depends on the beat. And I don't know. It's like, I don't ever, like, every single time I go in to writing and I'm like, I'm going to talk about this, the song always comes out bad. So it's like, now what I do, I just listen to the beat, I feel it. And if I don't feel something and I feel like I'm forcing, I'm just not going to write that day. That's just how it
Mm,
is.
mm.
Every time that I force something, it doesn't come out right. So I just feel the beat because it's like, this is like my ventilation. This is like my drug. This is my fix. So it's like, I just want to have it be natural. So my like writing style and my project style, it's like, I don't know if I can ever do a subject project where you talk about like similar things, like how Kendrick did with To Pimp a Butterfly, or like how J. Cole did with For Your Eyes Only, because everything, it just comes from what's on my spirit that day. So you're gonna hear a bunch of songs that are completely different. So it's like my writing process is real simple. Like I'm not a freestyler, like in the booth. Everything I write, it's like I'm very, very, very intricate with my pen. And I honestly, this is honestly what I know. Like I feel like you give me till until I get like a major label push, or until I get like somebody behind me that's really gonna put myself on a main scale. I guarantee you, like talent wise, I feel like I'm already the best in the world already, like of all time. That's like honestly how I feel. Like I'm not just BSing for your interview, but it's like it comes so natural. And then like you said, like practice makes perfect. So as I write and as I continue to write, I can tell I'm getting better and better. Like Wasteland sessions that we were talking about earlier was really good for me because I got to see how good is my pen when I'm just sitting in the studio writing something, coming up with something that same day, and then laying it down. And I'm pretty nice. Like you're gonna hear the project when it comes out. You'll see. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
bro.
I love it. I love it. And again, kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, it's one of the things I appreciate about you, but a lot of people struggle with is, if anybody watched like the Kanye documentary, there was that moment where he was talking to one of his guys in the studio, and the guy was questioning Kanye, like, who are you to say that you're a genius, or who are you to say that this? And he's like, who am I not to be? You know what I'm saying? Like it's so crazy, but also not crazy. I mean, I get, how humans think this way, but it's so crazy that, you're looked at as crazy or what is it called?
Cocky.
Cocky, because you claim something that may
Yeah.
not have came to real life yet in their eyes, but for you, it's like, no, this is real for me. Like, I believe this ain't no joke for me. I'm not like trying to talk myself into this. I believe this with my heart. Like, this ain't like, I'm not confused. This is me saying what is real to me, and whether you believe that or not doesn't really matter. And I love that exactly energy about you in terms of you being confident in your skill, confident in your pen, and believing in yourself heavily, because nobody in the entire world is going to believe in you more than yourself. So it's so
Yeah.
important, so clear, and it's
Real quick.
yeah.
I'll lose a thought. Do you believe in manifestation?
I do believe in manifestation, which is one of the questions I have for you today, which was going to be
Okay,
like,
okay.
yeah. And we'll jump right into that. It's like, how important has like affirmations and manifesting been for you, up to now in your life? And when did you start doing that?
Bruh, this was like 2 years ago. Like I remember this is when I got real sick, and like I was real heavy. Like right now I'm like 195 pounds. And this was back when I was like 200, like a near 240. I was working a job that I hated at the time. And it's like I got this when COVID first hit, like about over 2 years ago now. And I remember like when I was sitting in my bed for the 2 weeks, I remember a voice came to me, right? Because I was just trapped in my room eating junk food, eating McDonald's every single day. And I remember a voice came to me because I was like really lost in my life at that time. And like we're both men. We every single day we try to find ourselves and try to go. I remember I got a real clear voice, right? And he was like, this music is gonna be, this is what you're supposed to do. And like the voice told me, he's like, you got COVID. I gave you COVID because you needed to sit down and you needed to realize that you're headed in a terrible direction. you need to keep doing what you're doing, but you got to focus on the music, because this is the gift that I gave you for you to utilize your talents. And ever since I had that, I always knew about the manifestation and all that. And ever since then, I try to, like, every single day meditate, write down my affirmations and visualize what's going on, because your mind literally shapes your reality, which is kind of crazy. It's like our, our brains, we're complex beings. And I remember, like, everything I write down, I know it's gonna come true. It's like, and when I say premonitions, like, I literally get like visual premonitions. Like, I remember one time I was laying in my bed and I was meditating. I remember I had a rough day, right? And I was like, I meditated, and the whole time I meditated, and this is real, this is crazy, but like, I haven't shared this before, but when I meditated, I got a clear vision. Like, it was like real life, like a outer body experience. And I was standing in the crowd at a festival watching myself perform on the stage. Isn't that, that's pretty crazy? And it's like, damn. And it was kind of wild. And it's like, I was standing in the crowd, like I was attending the concert, looking at myself perform. So I saw like the jumbotrons. I had my son on stage. Like, I remember my son ran out on stage and I picked him up. And it's like little stuff like that. Like, so it's like God's always telling me, bruh, like, keep doing what you're doing. Focus on your thoughts, because like, that stuff is real, bro. And it's kind of crazy because I already know that I'm gonna make it to the very top and be the greatest ever. But it's like, I just don't know how yet. You know what I mean? That stuff is real, but it's been like 2 years, like you said, since I started taking my spirituality seriously. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. No, that's so important. Too often, you know, and just really humans around the world, we lack something. I guess it's a foundation. We lack a foundation to build off and to move from. So for some people, that's strictly just God. That might be, for some people it's Jesus, some people it's Muhammad, some people it's Buddha, some people it's not a single religious figure. It's simply just manifesting for themselves and believing in, themselves as the universe or whatever it might be. But the good thing is, having a foundation, something you can look on or rely upon to grab guidance, grab wisdom from. So when you're meditating, or when you're speaking these words of affirmations into your life and manifesting things into your life, like, that's another way of spirituality and a foundation you can build off and use to be able to push you forward and like put that in your engine. Because too often people don't have any of that. And so when sadness hits, or when depression hits, or when challenges and obstacles come up, they don't have anything but just their own self to fight. And oftentimes we're not really that strong when we don't have a spiritual foundation or some sort of foundation. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. And we live in this world is fucked, bro. We live in a dark world. So it's like, even me, like, recently, I've been losing myself in the spirituality a little bit. And it's like, and it should, they say 70% of human beings are depressed. And I believe that shit, bro. And that's fucked up, bro. That's just the way life is, bro. Sadly, like, we live in a fucked up world, yo.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We live in a dark place where there's a lot of negative social forces, but the positive thing is that we do have the capability and we do have the option to choose how we behave, how we think, what we're going to remind ourselves of, and how we're going to treat the world, and how we're going to move through the world to be a positive light. One thing I say in all my Instagram posts, or try to say, is make sure you're a source of light for those in darkness today, because the more light you spread, the more love you spread. I look at it as a domino effect. If you go and smile at somebody today, they're likely to smile at somebody tomorrow or in the next few minutes. So it's like, we live in a world where we're all connected in one way, in my opinion. Dark people, light people, like all types of, everyone is connected. So there's this system from a guy called Joe Holder, called the Ocho system, and it's others can help one and one can help others. So as you help yourself, you can better help others, and as you help others, they can better help themselves, and then the cycle repeats. So I agree. A lot of the world is suffering right now, but the goal is to like do our best to be consistent in our actions and our behavior, so that we can bring light to the world. No, we're not going to change the whole world by ourselves, but we can definitely be a brick in the build. So
for sure. Easy.
I love it. I love
Easy.
it. If you could go back to 18-year-old you a few years ago, like, what would be maybe one piece of advice that you'd give yourself on anything? It could be music, it could be about manifestations and spirituality, it could be about fitness, whatever it is. But what's one piece of advice you'd give your 18-year-old self if you could double back?
You got some good questions, bro. This podcast gonna blow up one day. I like your questions, like real talk.
I
Uh,
appreciate you, brother, for
yeah.
sure.
One thing that I would definitely tell myself, 18, I used to really get caught up in the moments. And one thing I would tell myself is, bruh, every single thing that's happening to you, nothing that's happened to you is bad. It's just to make you stronger. And as cliche as that, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. That shit is like that song. That's a fact, bro. Like, and I wish, and like now I look at it like that. Like, there's no such thing as a bad day because every day is just making you stronger for something in the future. And that's what I would tell my young 18-year-old self. And I would tell my young 18-year-old self, bro, stop doing all the dumb shit, bro. Don't stop putting the female before yourself. Stop smoking. Stop going to parties. Stop caring about everybody else's perception all the time because, man, it's just like I said, like I would just tell them that because you got to really if you take everything to heart in this world, and I'm still learning that now. If you take everything to heart in this world, this world will eat you alive.
Mm-hmm.
For real. But yeah, but that's what I would tell my 18-year-old self. And me, I would tell my 18-year-old self, stop being scared to share your music. Stop being scared to share your music because this is your gift.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that a lot. Do you have like a favorite song you've made in the past few years that comes to mind? I know, I'm sure you enjoy a lot of your music, but do you have a song that stands out as maybe the most impactful song you've made for yourself, or a song
Easy.
that, yeah, go ahead and talk about it
Easy.
and kind of talk about the story behind the music.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into this one song. You said my most impactful song and my favorite one. This song is actually my most impactful and my favorite, and it's a song called "If God Is Real" on my 1111 EP. And like I said, I got new music. This starting this month, I'm gonna have a few songs dropping every single month.
Let's
I only
go.
have that. Yeah. I only got that 4-song EP out right now. Like I said, it's been a short time, and I feel like I'm in a good place. But the most important song I made is called "If God Is Real." And I want you to check it out after we're done with this interview
Mandatory.
on the 1111 EP. And it's basically a song where I'm speaking from the perspective, because I grew up in my mom was very, very like religious, very spiritual. I grew up like going to church every Sunday. And a lot of times as a kid, it's like you don't get the opportunity to tell how you really feel about church. And if God is real, it's basically me speaking because I don't know all the answers yet, right? So this is basically me rapping from the perspective of an atheist. And it's like, instead of, because I don't like the argumentative standpoint that the church takes. It's like, this is just me not wanting to make an argument, but I want to like spark a conversation between atheists, non-believers, devil worshippers. I don't care what, like, I just want us to talk more openly about spirituality without arguing. It's definitely my most impactful. And I remember I was performing this song. It was my song, the last song I did at the Tech Nine show. And I remember, and I want you to look at this. I can send you the footage, or you can look at it on my Instagram. And it's like, I went out on the stage, and it's like a piano beat. And it starts out dun 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 dun, and it's like dun 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 dun. Then I start talking, and I'm like, this is I'm not sure if God is real. And then I basically start answering questions and I start talking about stuff that like didn't ever really make sense to me. And I talk about like temptations and why like the biggest sins that the Bible states are temptations. Like I have a line in there that a lot of people like. And I was like, I got a couple more questions. If sex is sin, then how come these hoes get my dick erected? And I'm not trying to be derogatory towards women, but it's like, that temptation is so strong. And it's like, why is that premarital sex a sin when it feels so right? It feels so right. And I have another one where it's like the first line of the song, I go, God is you real, dog. This shit is a joke. My best friend doing 20 just for smoking some dope. Ain't even a bad dude, just trying to gain him some hope. Probation fees out the ass like that nigga ain't broke. The only time he feel decent when he light up and smoke. Also, the only thing that's keeping him from up in the pole. Baby mother makes her money shaking, ass grabbing poles. Now he on lockdown, lifting weights, folding up clothes. Cause see, in our community, like I love this song. Like I get excited talking about it, even though it's my own song. But it's like that's some real stuff. Like there's people that are on probation right now that live stressful lives, and it's like they violate probation because like it's so normal for them to smoke, and they don't feel like they're doing a bad thing. But you can get booked 20 years off your probation charge from you smoking some weed. And this is just talking about him, like and because it sparked from a conversation I had with somebody, or an interview I was watching with somebody, and it's like, yo, I keep messing up, you know, and it's like my life is so stressful, and I know I'm on probation, but I just got this weed because like a lot of these dudes, I don't think they want to do, and like from the conversations I have and the people in my family or whatever, they don't want to do bad or anything. It's like I'm just talking, and this was the song is called "If God Is Real." That's why I told you it's my most important, because I'm like, God, like even if this thing is a sin, I just want to feel good. Like it's not like I'm just trying to disobey you, God. I just want to feel good. Like I just want to have sex today because I just want to feel good. But you're gonna punish me for that. And it's like some of these things I don't understand, and I don't understand the eternal punishment. But I could talk about that all day. But that's basically my most important song. If God is real,
and
yeah,
and that's powerful because, you know, again, it goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning about music being a ladder to the soul. Man, these are the conversations that are necessary for society and especially young people to have on a day-to-day basis in order for us to grow and advance our minds and advance our communities and advance our society, is to be able to have unified conversation from different perspectives, from different lifestyles, from different things, and being able to think deeply about the meaning of,
that,
you know, the rules that we're following, the laws that we're following, the religions we believe in. It's not about questioning God, it's about asking for some type of clarity and
yeah,
making sure that you understand what you're, you know, following instead of just following blindly. So I love it. I think it's super important, and I encourage you to continue pushing, you know, those conversations, not only within your own friend group but also with, you know, the audience and your fan base, because I think that'll definitely have, you know, a natural domino impact on people and friend groups, because these are going to be the type of conversations people have if it's the music they're listening to. So I love that. um
appreciate you.
Hell yeah, man. So what kind of music did you grow up on though? You know, when you're thinking about when you're younger, like riding around in a car with your mom or your family members, or, you know, going to middle school and like kids dancing to certain music. Like what do you remember listening to a lot just throughout the years? You can talk about different eras. Like I know for me, there's like the era of just like 50 Cent, Kanye West when I was like young bull, like a young bull, and that's what I was listening to. 50 Cent, Kanye West, like 2003, 2004, like those big songs, a lot of, you know, twerk booty songs, you know what I'm saying?
Facts, facts,
And then
definitely
there
facts.
was then there was the middle school period, which was like the New Boys and Jerking and like, you know, things like that. Then high school where Kendrick and J. Cole and all these new lyricists came out and started blowing up. So like talk about your, you know,
Yeah, man.
your music taste growing up.
Early, the first project I remember like listening to was Ludacris Theater of the Mind, hard ass album.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna like literally start from the beginning. Early on, I remember the movie Notorious came out in like 2000. I don't remember what year, but I remember my mom got me like the Notorious DVD soundtrack, and I think that's where I gravitated towards like more of the lyricism, because I grew up on like the killer lyricists like Luda, Wayne, Carter Ford. That's another great album that I got to like that album is so fire. Like I don't know if you listen to the Carter Four, but to me, the Carter Four is one of the best albums ever. Lil Wayne Carter. That's when he's really rap. Like Lil Wayne is underrated. We can talk about that. That's another conversation. But Lil Wayne is the most underrated lyricist ever. For some reason, people don't respect him like that.
He's cold for sure.
Man, T.I. Paper Trails. That's when I remember thumping.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
stuff, Live Your Life. That song is so hard, bro. And
Man, legendary.
bro, I'm telling you. Let's see. Eminem Recovery. This 2009 hard ass album. That's like Eminem. You know, that's like his comeback album when he was coming off relapse, like
Yep.
off the drugs, and then he
Mhm.
made like Not Afraid, which is like his biggest song ever. And let's see. I'm trying to stay in order. I said Carter 4. I remember Tech. So I don't know if you remember, but Tech Nine has a song on the Carter 4 where he's a feature. It's like my favorite Tech Nine verse ever, and it was kind of cool meeting him like the other month, because I didn't want to fanboy him too much, but like his verse on that song, bro, on the interlude is so hard. And then I have let's see, I'm 50 Cent. I didn't Obviously he was a little before my era, but I definitely remember like my uncle playing some 50 Cent, and I'm like, damn, this shit tough. Like, of course I remember like In the Club, which is like literally one of
Right.
the best ever, literally. That song is so hard, bro. Let's see here. I remember Snoop Dogg, No Malice. I don't know if you remember the song I Wanna Rock. That song hard. It was like this is like newer Snoop. And then newer, I remember like when I was 1 year before going into 6th grade, I remember Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City. And I remember hearing, man, I remember when he dropped that joint, like I was so young, but I remember one of the first times I heard Kendrick, he freestyled on this radio show over the Warren G Regulate beat. I'm like, oh my goodness, bro, he killed that hoe. And then I remember Good Kid came out. I'm like, this dude tough. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't start listening to like J. Cole like that until like I got on J. Cole heavily like my freshman year of high school, and then I became like a super fan of him. And of course there's like the Drakes, and I didn't really start liking Drake like that until, and this is no shot against Drake, I love him now, but I didn't really catch on, let's say that, not start liking, I didn't really catch on and start respecting his talent as much. I was like a hardcore lyricist, like multi-syllable type rap fan. But then I started respecting him when he released what's the thing when his head's in the cloud? Nothing Was the Same. I think that's what it's called.
Nothing Was the Same. Yeah.
Bro, and when he released that whole, and also last, I gotta say his name. I don't know if you heard of Logic, but Logic was definitely in middle school. I remember like mixtape Logic before he had an album. I was on Logic real early, and like, bro, that dude was lethal. But yeah, those are definitely some of the people I listened to growing up for sure.
I love it. I think of that Nothing Was the Same album often just because I remember it was like my senior year or maybe my junior year when he dropped that. And I was like, I remember I sucked at math, and I used to have to take like 3 math classes a day. Like one was like a math class to catch up on the year before or whatever. And then there was a math class that was like the junior year math class. And then there was a math class that was a remedial math class to help you catch up in the class that you just had earlier in the day. So like I had like 3 math classes that year, and I was in that mug, and I used to just be asleep. But listen to Nothing Was the Same. I put both of my headphones and just put my head down. But I remember what that Pound Cake song with Jay-Z. I was like,
yeah, bro.
Yeah, I was going crazy in that class, just rapping that shit out loud, getting kicked out and shit. Shit was fun. But anyways,
yeah. I feel like in that album, I think he really showcased him as an MC on that. He's doing a lot of rapping on that album.
Hell yeah. I think that's why people were like, oh, this shit hits, because they were like, okay, so he can rap too. So,
yes, bro.
I love it. So I wanted to ask you, do you have like a first concert or first performance that you went to that kind of like taught you something about or inspired you to want to perform? Because I know like as an artist, performing is pretty huge, like being able to be out there in front of your people or out there in front of new people, and being able to like, again, share your story through your music and be able to hear people and watch people's faces and stuff. So can you maybe talk about your first concert or performance that you went to, and then any lessons you learned or applied or thought about before you went and performed at the Open for Tech 9?
First. Yeah, man. First show. My first show was dope, bro. This was like, let's see, 2016, the summer after my freshman year of high school. I don't know. Did you ever listen to G-Eazy?
Not really, but you know, a little bit.
You know him, right? You know who he is.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah.
It was a show. G-Eazy was headlining. I really went for Logic because, like I say, one of my favorite rappers ever. Logic was co-headlining, and then YG was co-headlining, and then Yo Gotti. Like, nice. So like 4 like big, huge names. This was at Ariza Amphitheater out in Bonner Springs. I remember one thing I learned is like I learned from it is how not only are they just rapping and like trying to put on a good show, but the main thing that people are going to remember is the communication. Like I remember like YG and Logic, they stopped their sets for a little bit just to talk to the crowd. And it's like when I open for Tech, I wish I had more time, because every time I would talk to the crowd, they would go crazy. Because I like communicating with the people, and I didn't really get a chance to communicate with the people and shit. But it's cool though, because like that's just my first one. There's no knock on nobody. But I remember like that's one thing that I think that I learned from the most from that show. It was a dope show, but the biggest thing I learned was like you got to make the people feel as one, because they spent their hard-earned money and came out on a weekend where they could be doing anything else. So you got to give them that respect back. And it's like, I think big thing is communicating, looking them in the eye. So then they can be like, because the people at the tech show are gonna be like, hey, before JLEE blew up, I actually watched JLEE perform and all that.
Yeah.
And JLEE took a picture with me. JLEE watched the show in the crowd with me. And that stuff is priceless to me.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that. And so I have a few more questions for you. Before we sign out for today, first and foremost, I want to say that I've really been enjoying, hearing a little bit about your story, hearing the way you communicate about, of course, your story and music. I think you have a bright future ahead of you, especially mainly because of the confidence you have in yourself, because that's going to be super important moving forward. I can't wait to hear more music and tapping into that EP that you have out to listen to more. Before we move on to the next questions, and we'll remind the people of it before we sign out today, but can you tell them again the name of the 4-song project that you have out right now and where they can find it?
For sure. My EP that's out right now, like I said, I have my first single in 6 months is also coming out on Monday called For My Friend. Y'all got
Monday. That's Monday the 21st, ladies and gentlemen. March 21st, yes, Monday, another new song from JLEE.
Yes, sir, indeed. For My Friend on all streaming platforms. This project I'm talking about right now, also the 4-song 1111 project is available on all streaming platforms. It's just, if you type in JLEE 1111, it'll be there on every single platform available. And it's just kind of like my introduction to the rap game. And you get a little bit of everything in that small 4-song period. And I'm happy with that project, but it's not even close to what I have coming out. So
I love it. I love it. Well, we can't wait. And I'm sure that the people who listen to this, whether it's now or whether it's in 2027, are going to double back and listen to the 1111 project, the song that's coming out, now, and they're going to be like, damn, this shit was fire, but he came a long way. It's 2027, man. This new project JLEE dropped is fire. I'm glad I got this podcast to listen to. So I'm glad you came on and did this interview, because it's going to be important for you and your fans to listen to, in the future. It'll be dope to double back on.
Love, bro.
Hell yeah. So, for, you mentioned you have ADHD and you struggle to focus. And I think a lot of people struggle with focus, maybe not to the extreme of people who are challenged with ADHD, but what has been like your favorite, I guess you could say, productivity hack as a music entrepreneur? Like, what's one thing you do that helps you focus up or get a lot of work done? Is there anything specific? It could be like note taking. It could be reminders on your phone to do something. Like, what is like a productivity hack that you utilize to kind of help you focus or get shit done as a music entrepreneur?
Shit. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Like, the only time I don't struggle focusing is when I'm writing. So it's not a problem with me as far as like productivity goes as a music entrepreneur. It's not a problem because that's what I love doing. But if I'm doing some shit I don't like doing, then that's when the ADHD really kicks in. Like when I be like when I would like sit in class in high school. But like when I'm talking to you right now, it's different because I want to be talking to you. I want to have an interview. This is part of my career. It's part of your career. This is what we want to do, correct? This is what you want to do. You're
exactly.
A podcaster.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do because I'm an artist. So it's not a problem. But even then, like sometimes, like you can probably hear me talk. I've got off topic in this interview probably like 3 times. And that's just the ADHD. And that's just being around me. And sometimes it annoys people because I annoy myself sometimes. But I'm at the point.
Same here, my guy. Same here.
I mean, I wish I could give the people a hack, but to be honest, bro, you gotta kind of embrace it a little bit because it's honestly not a bad thing in some aspects. Like that's why I think, I don't know, bro. I think it's kind of, I'm not trying to, like I said, I almost got off track again, but I think it's weird how there's ADHD medicine because I think it's a gift, bro. I think it's a gift.
I love it.
I don't want to talk about that because we're gonna be talking all day about medicine.
No,
shit. I don't want to go there.
And I hear you, but that's also important. I think you kind of answered that question still with saying that. It's like, so often, especially now, and with the internet, there's this hustle culture idea where you always need to be productive. You always need to be doing something. And that's not particularly healthy. So sometimes you just need to embrace being lost in curiosity or being lost in your thoughts and embrace that, enjoy it, recognize it, be aware of it, and then move on instead of beating yourself up or forcing yourself into, being productive at all times. So I think in your answer, you answer the question still. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. like I said, I was trying to give people something in particular, but shit, I don't even know the answers. I'm a man like y'all. I don't know, bro.
Hell
Some
yeah. No, that's that. Hey, that's the best answer you can give. It's just being honest. Motherfuckers sometimes be trying to come up with some shit. You like, listen, bro, it's okay.
yeah. I
No,
don't
I
know all
love
the. I ain't God.
it. Facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, when it comes to music, to writing, to creating, it's something that you love, it's something that you enjoy. And obviously, it's something you're known for and will continue to be known for moving forward. But what's something most people don't know about you that you're also talented at, that you're also skilled at and enjoy doing that maybe you don't talk about so much?
Um, some I don't talk about as much. Definitely, I write scripts like TV scripts, movie scripts. I can ghost write, like I said, like I'm really good at like poetry, like just not even song making, just straight like poetry. I'm really good at poetry. I'm just really good at talking, bro. Like this is the gift I have. You know what I mean?
The
I'm
gift
good
of
at
gab.
yeah, exactly. But like I think a lot of people don't know. Like I came from a poetry background, so like I used to do like poetry slams, all that type of stuff. Like I was really good at like creative writing and shit like that. A lot of
That's
people don't
fire.
know that really where like the lyricism and stuff comes from because poetry is harder to do in music because music you can let the beat kind of help you, but
Mhm.
poetry it's just your words and that's really where the bars came from. To be honest with you.
I love that. I love that. That's important. Do you happen to have any of your poetry memorized or in your phone or written down nearby you that you could share prior to signing out today?
Uh,
It could be something super short. And if you don't, it's okay. But just wanted to see if there was anything, or, to also keep it easy, if there's a bar or a verse that you remember from one of your songs that you just are like, man, that was a fire verse I did. And you rap that for us before we sign out
yeah,
of
yeah.
here today.
So I made one last week. This was actually at Wasteland Sessions, and it goes. This is a real good one, and I think y'all gonna like it. Shout out Wasteland, by the way. It's where we met. Shout out Wasteland. But it goes. It's me against the world. I feel like Tupac gripping two Glocks. Resentment and envy from goofy niggas that nutty shit don't stop. Niggas rest like sentences that struggle with perceptions. Elevation to Smith and Wessons. Quit walking in blood stepping. Niggas like confidence in themselves so they build facades. And they hate on JLEE because I'm handsome with lyricism barrage. But I don't give a fuck though. Little nigga, I'm cutthroat. Flame spitter when I spit. My breath reeks of fire and gun smoke. Taste desires and don't go seeping into your C-pole. My motto, grind, pace yourself, come with heat, that's all a depot. Even if you hate me, it's all good. I still love you, my nigga. You old dirty ass, musty ass, crusty ass nigga. Niggas call me pussy and soft, like I ain't cut from that cloth. Like I ain't get robbed in Atlanta when I slept in my car. Like I ain't fist fight hood niggas when they was running their jaw. Sometimes I hate my own people, niggas pissing me off. I was having a conversation with my young nigga Buzz. He said he fucking hate guns, but he keep one tucked in the glove. That shit is devastating. Vivid mental thoughts and preparation of a nigga taking his life. He smiles, but his heart is vacant. But yeah, that's when I wrote like over the like last week. Hell
Fire,
yeah.
fire. Yeah, man. I already know I'm gonna like your music when I listen to it even more because it's powerful. It has a story behind it. And that's the type of shit that I like listening to specifically. I'm sure there's people out there that are super into turn up, Lil Uzi type shit, but not me,
Yeah.
respectfully. So I'm really into like storytelling and things that I can identify with, just even in the little bars right there. Just reminds me of conversations I've had with the homies just sitting in the car late at night. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of shit that really taps into your heart and you like, damn, man, like that's facts. Or like, damn, yeah, I remember like the same thing, especially you said talking to your little homie was hate guns, but he keep one tucked in his glove. And I'm just remembering conversations having with the homies, like me arguing with them, like, bro, like, why you keeping the gun? Like, take that gun. Or it's like, look, I hate this shit too, nigga, but I gotta keep this shit on me, blah, blah, blah. And
Fucked up.
yeah, it's fucked up, but it's also reality for a lot of people who are, coming from challenging backgrounds and lifestyles.
Yeah,
So
man.
it just I love music that's storytelling and telling the stories of like things that a lot of us go through or have had to go through and maybe no longer have to go through, but have went through when we was younger or young bulls. So I love it. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you
Oh,
jumping on the show today. So thank you so much, JLEE, for sharing your story, a little bit about you, a little bit about your music, sharing some bars with us, sharing your thought process around depression, anxiety, and other tough challenges, spirituality, and other tough things that are tough conversations most people aren't comfortable to talk about. So I appreciate you having the bravery, the curiosity, and being
Hey,
open to
real quick before you finish,
yeah.
make sure you say your name and where the people can find this podcast at, because I'm gonna post this too, and I'm gonna make sure you get your recognition. So let them know who you is, where to find your stuff at, and all that.
Say less. I got you for sure. So, man, I've really enjoyed this conversation though, for real though. I'm glad we made this happen. Sometimes I'm always coming in the podcast, not nervous so much about who I'm interviewing, but nervous about like, am I going to enjoy this conversation? Because I value the podcast. I value the conversations I bring on here. So it's always a little nervous. We're like, all right, is this going to be a good one? Like, is this going to be enjoyable? And I really enjoyed, hearing your story and hearing the way you talk. So I appreciate you. This is the final question for today. You're 150 years old, right? You've lived as long as you've wanted to live. You've done all the music, done all the shows, wrote books, left a legacy, everything you've wanted to do in life, you've done. But your great grandkids are sitting at your feet, and this is the last words they're going to remember you saying. And they ask you, great grandpa JLEE, please tell me, what's one piece of advice you have on how to live a good life?
Sorry about that. Somebody calling me.
All good.
Damn, man, you messed up my interview, homie. But yeah, the last thing, bro, I'll probably say to my grandkids is let my legacy live on, man. Do what I did. Motivate others, love others. This $1 billion that I got invested into the community, give back to the people who support you, and just try to be an honorable person. Because at the end of the day, no matter when I die, all the music I'm gonna leave and all that stuff, that's cool. But I want people to know me as a person. You know what I mean? I want people to know I was an honorable man, that I wasn't an asshole to nobody, that I didn't try to get over on nobody. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. All right, brother. Let the people know where they can find you, your music. Spell it out for them. Where can they find you on Instagram, on social media platforms? So anybody and everybody who listens to this point of this podcast can follow you and tap in with you.
So everybody, man, you can find me on social media on Instagram at JLEE, JLEE_913. My project 1111 and my name on all streaming platforms is JLEE, JLEE, all capitals. My song For My Friend is going to be dropping this Monday, and a series of singles along with another project is going to be in the works, all done before this summer. I want everybody to tap in with me, and also tap in with my boy. I'm sure after I'm done talking, he's going to let you know where to find him as well, because he's helping me. I'm helping him. We're just going to help the city grow, and I want to make sure y'all tap into my man as well. But yes, sir.
I love it, man. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and clap it up for my guy. I know we can't hear you clap, but clap at home. Clap in the car right now. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. Make sure you leave a 5-star review on the College Stutzer Show podcast on Apple Podcasts, as that is one of the only ways we can grow. Share with a friend. Leave comments on what you want to hear. If you have any questions for JLEE, DM him directly. I'm sure he would love to have conversations with you guys. And aside from that, it is your boy, College Stutzer, aka CIZZY. You can find me on Instagram at the THE Collis COLL is Stutzer STUTZER show on Instagram, and you can follow my personal at College Stutzer COLLIS STUTZER. Leave a 5-star review. We love y'all. Salute. We out.